It is the Sports Big Orange podcast. Charlie Burris, Zach Ragan. We are back for another segment, another week, another weekend of complete pain. Zach has passed. It was pretty much just baseball this time. Softball still winning some games, but um, we got to talk about this right up front this week, Zach. The Lady Vols situation. We're gonna get to everything in our segments this week. Um, Baseball implosion against LSU, one of the more ridiculous losses I've ever seen in watching baseball. Um, Losing by 10 runs in extra innings. You got to really try hard to do that. And then basketball transfer portal updates, actually positive transfer portal updates, hopefully, but that's going to be a little later in the week. And then maybe a little spring football too. But we got to start here. Lady Vol basketball. I heard somebody make this joke. It was Lady Vols. And then everybody transferred in and became Lady Vol. And then today, Jada Civil announces that she's transferring, and now it's just that's all. There's nothing left. There's literally no team. There's no players. And the freshman that's supposed to come in, the all 5-star everything, Olivia Edwards, is looking to get out of her deal. And so she's not coming. I chose a background photo today of the great Pat Summitt, the legend, greatest of all time, because I've already said it in weeks past, everything that's happening with this program and what Danny White has done to it with this hire is absolutely just shameful and disrespectful to everything that Pat Summitt left behind. It's so horrific and horrendous and just spitting on all of her achievements that it makes me absolutely furious, and I have so little patience for it. And yet, Danny's not firing this lady. I mean, can we just admit that? He's not going to do it. They're coming up with this. I sent this to you guys yesterday in our group chat. The athletic department, it sounds like, is trying to spin this tale that Kim Caldwell's assistant coaches were undermining her. Oh, they were undermining her. That's why they had to fire her. That Gabe guy left for a better job. And then the other coach, maybe he was doing this undermining thing or whatever. Even still, the fact that you have a coach that would allow that to happen under her purview is ridiculous. And there's no excuse, and Kim should still be fired. It's such a dumb situation, Zach. I don't even know where to start with it necessarily, but what are you thinking about it at the moment?
Yeah, I think with the roster, I mean, we expected turnover. We knew that there were going to be players hitting the portal. They were, leaving before the season was over. We knew what was coming, and we knew that it needed to happen to some extent. Like, you needed to flip this roster because clearly this roster wasn't going to get it done. The chemistry was off, but I don't think we expected every single player to be off of this roster and it just be a completely starting over. It's gonna be tough for Kim Caldwell this fall. I think if she's back, if you're a fan, or not if, I mean, it's clear she is going to be back. If you're a fan, you've got to root for her success next fall and hope that she can turn it around, because who knows what's next after that if Danny White has to make another hire. But truthfully, after the way last season went, I almost thought it was going to be possible that maybe she'd pull like a Conzo and just dip for another job, see the writing on the wall, and it's like, okay, before I get fired, I'm going to see if I can land somewhere else that's a pretty good job, and maybe somewhere it's not quite as under the microscope as the Lady Vols brand is, and especially with the Knoxville media and how on top of everything they are. I thought that would have been a good exit strategy for her. I mean, I respect her for trying to stick around and figure it out, but if you're Danny White, I don't know what you're really hoping for here, because you're not going to get the best roster in the sport. You're just not. I mean, this program hit rock bottom this year. You're not going to attract the best players in the sport. They're going to want to go to UCLA or South Carolina or LSU or even UConn, despite having a lunatic for a coach. I mean, they're not going to look at Tennessee and be like, that's the spot for me. Look at what they did last season. So you're not going to have the most talented roster in the sport or anywhere close to it. I think we've seen in women's basketball as much as any sport. If you're not in the top 4 or 5 rosters, you really have no chance
Yep.
at getting going deep in the tournament. So, what's the best case scenario next season with the spot that she's in? Similar to what we saw this season, maybe you get to the second round, maybe you get to another Sweet 16, which is that no recent Lady Vols coach has been able to get past that over the hump there in the Sweet 16. And that's really, to me, the best case scenario, unless you just somehow find lightning in a bottle. And that's not going to be good enough for fans. I mean, they're tired of second round exits. They want to see this program get back to having a chance. At least put yourself in the position the men's program is, where you're getting to an Elite Eight and you at least are playing in the game to get to the Final Four. At this point, they're so far from that, and I have no reason to think that next season is going to be much different.
Next season is a lost cause. No matter what happens. I expect that will be the first team to ever miss the NCAA tournament for Tennessee, because at this point you're only going to be able to fill this team with like mid-major transfers. And I gotta think that the money folks who were maybe supporting the big players that you got in this last round, that's not happening anymore. I have to think, just generally speaking, in a situation like this, you usually get those people going, I'll allocate my resources somewhere else. So I would expect that to be the case. I don't know that to be the case. Maybe there is somebody that'll foot the bill for a whole set of, high-end players. But let's say it's all mid-major players. The vast gap between the haves and the have-nots in women's basketball is crazy, where you have all of these number one seeds in the tournament, their average margin of victory is 40 points, and they make the Final Four, and then finally they play a team that's on their level. You're not even going to be sniffing that. You're not going to be in the same stratosphere as those people. And so it's just next year. You can fire Kim Caldwell today, and bringing Kim Mulkey in next year is going to be a lost cause. Like, that's the situation that you're in. You fried this thing to the point that it's over for at least another year, which to me, I mean, obviously that leads me to the conclusion of what is even the point? Like, fire her today and let's move on, and at least start that. It's like when an NFL team tanks. Let's get it going. Just lose all the games. Let's get the number one pick, and we'll start over. That's the situation that you're in with the Lady Vols. Let's just start over. Just freaking hit the full reset button. You're doing it completely with the players. Let's also do it with the coaches too, and cut this whole thing off at the pass, because it's beyond over. And the fact that I have zero anything towards Will West at 99.1. We haven't interacted a ton, and anytime we have, he's been cool to me. So there's that. But this segment that he did, where he talked about what the folks inside the athletic department were telling him, was that coaches were undermining Kim. That just screams to me official narrative propaganda. Here's what we're going to tell people. These coaches, they were undermining Kim, and they, they're going to make these guys fall on the sword so that Kim can get another year to save face for Danny. And then next year, when she flops even harder, he can fire her then. I think that's exactly what's happening here. Is just, and again, speculation on my part completely. But it just feels that way. It just, outside looking in, you just see something. I hear Will West say that. I'm sure people inside the athletic department, he's not lying. People inside the athletic department 100% told him that. I just don't believe them. I don't believe that that's what is really the case here. I think this is Danny White spinning a narrative so that he can give this lady one more year for her to just get buried even further and ruin this program even further. He's completely ruined the greatest program in the history of the sport. Period.
I think even if you do believe what that line coming from Will in the athletic department, I mean, that to me, how do you recover from that? How do you prevent that from happening again? Because we've seen that with some coaches before that just end up getting fired. We've seen this stuff with Butch Jones and the trouble he had with assistant coaches Jeremy Pruitt. It just is really, it's foreshadowing future problems down the road. It's not gonna. I don't think that would be a one-off thing. That's usually the head coach not having control. And we've already seen that Kim Caldwell I mean, she's coaching at this level for the first time ever. She's facing this kind of adversity and this failure for the first time ever in her career. I don't want to completely pile on her as a person or a coach, but
No.
she compromised her beliefs as a coach and what she wants to execute as a coach. I mean, she changed her system mid-season and it led to chaos. That goes against everything that a coach will ever preach of trusting the process and not changing because you're not getting results and all this stuff that sounds like coach speak. It's said constantly and repeated for a reason because you kind of have to approach things that way. When it's not working, you kind of got to stay with it and eventually the results will come type of thing. And she jumped ship mid-season. And then if you can't control your assistant coaches, you're losing control of the roster and you're getting frustrated calling them out. I just don't understand what they think is going to magically change in next season. And this isn't a long-term rebuild. Like you said, they're not fans rightfully at Tennessee at this point. Tennessee fans are so used to going through coaches that when they see it not work for a couple of seasons, it's okay. We know what's coming. We've been through this with every sport just about. It's time to move on. Let's see if the next coach works out. Like rightfully so, they're not going to have patience. So you're sending a lame duck coach out there in a no-win situation, like you said, delaying the inevitable. I don't get the the thought process here with Danny White, other than he just doesn't want to admit he made a mistake or made a bad hire, which every athletic director in the history of the sports has done at some point. That you're not going to nail them all. I mean, sometimes coaches just aren't going to work out the way you want them to. It's fine. I mean, cut your losses and move on to the next one. But it feels like an ego thing with me when it comes to Danny and this decision.
He just got too cute. He thought he was being real clever, bringing in a coach that's doing. He thought he was bringing in Josh Heupel, and he just wasn't. And second of all, Josh Heupel hasn't been a world beater. He's had one awesome resurgent season, a playoff run that ended with you getting your head bashed in.
He's
great.
Not Kirk Cinetti.
Exactly. I mean, he's not winning you a national title. And I think that's what he thought he was going to do. And it's been beyond a disaster. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I guess we should also say to the whole narrative of the coach undermining Kim, the main tweet that blew up that sort of went viral that had that clip in it. A whole series of players' parents were in their replies saying this is absolutely false. This didn't happen. Yada, yada. I mean, not that it's he said, she said, but I just thought I would include that too because I meant to say it and I just forgot. But
when there's that much noise around the program, it really doesn't matter which parts are completely true and completely untrue. There's that kind of noise and toxic stuff. Just it's bad sign. It's bad sign for the program moving forward.
My entire take on it, and I tweeted this. I just said I don't care if this is true. It is immaterial to me if this is true or not. Because Kim Caldwell should be fired. She should have been fired before this news ever came out, before this narrative ever emerged. She should have already been fired. She should have been fired walking off the floor when they lost that NCAA tournament game to NC State. Like, in the tunnel, Danny should have been like, it's time. that's what should have happened here. And you start your search from there for an actually serious coach. And we're just circling the drain here. It's silly and unnecessary.
I mean, you're trying to just get a coach to find her way, while paying her a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there's just so much from like the senior day deal where, and I know there's a lot of different takes on that, on not playing. A lot of people don't play on their senior days, but again, that's one of those situations where it wasn't necessarily what happened. It was just the lack of communication within the program that prevents stuff like that from becoming a big story or becoming a big narrative. Anytime you have players tweeting stuff out publicly about, leaving the program and things not going the way they wanted them to and all this stuff, like it's a bad reflection on the coach. And it's not what the Lady Vols are about. I mean, you have Pat Summitt in your background. I mean, it's just, this program deserves a better shot than this.
They absolutely do. And I think that's pretty much it. We can drop in a couple of nuggets about men's basketball if we're covering basketball. Here, Clarence Masamba is transferring. That's 2 transfers now in addition to Cade. Don't know what's happening in terms of getting guys to stay, like a JP Estrella, Lord willing, a Nate Amit. I don't even know if that's realistic, but no real news there. So and then you got the commitment from Tyler Lundblade, who I think is an amazing pickup, and that's a great start to your recruiting class, where we talked about, it's really time to try to build a super team here, and it seems like they're going to try to do that. That's good, but not a ton has unfolded there quite yet. We'll cover that more extensively in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, portal officially opens April 7th, Tuesday this week.
Yep. And it's gonna be interesting to see. I think the most interesting stuff out of this transfer, well, it's gonna be two things. It's gonna be who Tennessee picks up, but probably even more than that is who they're able to keep and for what. Like what are they gonna have to do to get JP Estrella to stay, or who else? Omari Evans. What are they gonna have to do?
We're seeing now that basically you have to spend at least $10 million. That's what some of the top programs spent last season, and Tennessee spent, according to Pete Nakos from On3, spent around $8.5 million last season. They're prepared to go north of $10 million now, but you got to think that some of the Kansas and some of these other schools that spent a little over 10 million are going to be closer to that 13 to 15 million range shot. Tennessee could still be behind, and I don't want, that's not doomsday here, but they may want to commit 15 million if they really want to make sure they nail this.
It needs to be a smart, and this is the key. Don't be Kentucky spending $20 million for a bunch of jokers.
Yeah,
a smart 15 to 20 million. There's your super team range. It seems like. We'll see. That's first segment. We're gonna follow up little spring ball on the football field, little baseball too. Look out for those. A to Z Sports Tennessee Volunteers is your YouTube channel. Subscribe there. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will see y'all in the next one.
See you guys later.